Hello, hello there. I hope you can hear me. This is Jacqueline with Women in Need of Empowerment, and we are going to be very live shortly. Hello there. How are you, Darlene? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm waiting on my guest to come on in. Miss Kathy Ann, I've sent her a special invite, and we are going to get started in just a moment here. It's a beautiful, beautiful day in Hampton, Virginia. Not sure how it is in your neck of the woods, but we are having a beautiful fall day. Yes, ma'am, let's do this. Hello, Stephanie. It's so good to see you, my sister. Beautiful. Hi, Kathy Ann. I have invited you to join me, so if you could accept the invite or request to come in. Can everyone hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me well. Yes, hi, Kathy Ann. I can see that you're here. Come on in. Let's see. There we go. Technology, a beautiful thing.
Hey!
Hi. I'm so glad that you can see me.
How's my mic? Is the volume good?
Yes, it's good. How's mine?
Good.
Good. All righty. So we are live. We have two visitors, or we had two. We have Darlene, and then we had a Stephanie. She may pop back in. Darlene is my good friend and spiritual mentor. She may not want me to say that, but she is. Very wise woman in the word, operates in the prophetic. And so I'm excited that she's here. Very excited. And so I'm going to be looking back and forth between two different monitors.
Actually, I was doing the same thing because I went into the group and I saw Darlene had commented and I was just reading it. So I'm glad to know of the connection.
Yes. So we have about maybe 2 more minutes before we get started. So we can just make sure everything is tight. I think you can hear me clearly. Do I need to put my volume up a little more, or is this good?
It's good with me. It's fine with me.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. And then I'm going to make sure I've got these wonderful website links ready to roll so that when people will not have to ask me where to go, because I'm going to pop it in the chat toward the end. I'm so excited. This is my first time doing something like this with the live feature on Facebook.
Yeah, yes.
And so I'm really excited about it. How's the weather there, Kathy?
Oh, it's kind of cloudy, but I don't mind. I like fall weather. I like it. Makes me pensive, and I like to read, so it all works. I'm trying to figure out how to share from my screen to my group, but it's not a big deal.
Okay. You can invite from your people from your group. I'm not sure. You should be able. There should be a button there where you can actually share, though.
Yes.
So I'm going to. I see we have someone else popped in. We have Miss Compton and we have Miss Reimer, Michaela Reimer. She is the daughter-in-law of the wonderful Darlene Reimer. Good to see you, Michaela. And how is it Macaressa, Risa? How about I say Miss Compton? I'm so glad you're here. This is wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to have a great time, ladies, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to take a few minutes to first introduce our speaker. And first of all, once again, I want to say that it is such a beautiful day here. I am in Hampton, in the Hampton Roads area in Virginia, and it is beautiful here. It's a beautiful fall day, and I'm planning on going out and enjoying my day in a little bit after this is all done and I get a little work done. I'm planning on going out and catching some of this sunshine. I'm even planning, guys, tomorrow morning to catch the sunrise. That's how early I'm getting up in the morning. I'm so excited about it. So I am Jacqueline Owensby with Women in Need of Empowerment, and we are equipping and empowering you to grow in the direction of the promise. Today we have with us in the Vineyard Live, my dear friend, Dr. Kathy-Ann Hernandez. And Kathy was born, believe it or not, she comes from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Absolutely. You can hear it a little bit in her accent when she's talking some. And I remember asking her when we first had a conversation, I was like, well, wait a minute, where are you from? Because I noticed a little bit of an accent. She is doing great things in the kingdom. She is a professor in the College of Business and Leadership. She's coming out of Pennsylvania today. She's also an author and the founder of the blog Value What Matters. I have dropped that link in the chat already for you. We will pop it in there again towards the end of this broadcast so that you will know how to navigate what's next. Kathy has published works across many genres, but the one she's most excited about is the one that she recently did, Waiting by the Brook, and it gives you 7 steps to deeper intimacy with God. And I have that book, and I'm so excited about what the Lord is going to do, not just here today, and not just because I may ask you to invest in yourself and get the book. No, I'm really excited about what's going to happen after all of that. How God is going to really use Kathy-Ann going forward to minister to his people through this topic of waiting. It is a big one. Kathy's also a wife and mother of 2 beautiful daughters. And so once again, I am welcoming you if you're just popping into the Vineyard. We are in the Vineyard with wine with Dr. Kathy-Ann. So let's chat. Tell us a little bit more intimate detail about yourself, Kathy-Ann, some of your hobbies or something that you may be working on right now before we jump in.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to say how happy I am to be here. I think when women get together, great things can happen. We bring a certain care. It's interesting because Jacqueline and I have never really actually met. We we met virtually in a group, and our spirits just connected. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to share this space with you. So what do I like to do? I love to garden, believe it or not. My father was into gardening. He passed away quite some time ago. And coming from the Caribbean to here, learning how to garden in this climate has been, it's been a learning experience, but it's been wonderful.
That is outstanding.
Yeah.
Gardening is not my strong thing there, but I have houseplants that are thriving.
There you go. There you go.
I'm doing very well with those, so I'm quite happy about that. And when I get stuck, my mother has a green thumb, so I lean all the way on her. I want to bring to you guys' attention that I popped a poll in the group earlier this morning, and I want to just read. I want to start there by reading that statement before we go into a quick Q&A with Kathy-Ann. We're talking about the subject of waiting well. Usually when we understand waiting, we look at it as a waste of time or a passive response. But biblically, waiting is an active response. It is an activation of your faith, actually. And it indicates biblically that you are waiting with anticipation or expectation. And so when you think about waiting, a lot of times we get frustrated in the waiting because the waiting is in the meantime. The waiting is the process that I've got to go through. And all through that, I have to maintain a level of trust and confidence that God is going to deliver. His word cannot return unto him void. And so I listed a few things here, and I want to kind of just give you an update. We have several options in this poll. Heart of expectancy, how you define waiting: a heart of expectancy, feeling of doubt, actively engaging, passive activity, and then someone added one, reflective thoughts. And so we had about 4 for expectancy, 3 for feeling doubt, one for passive activity, one for actively engaging, and one for reflective thoughts. This is no right or wrong answer. It's just about how you define waiting. And so I made a note there. For me is something that requires me to settle myself and to be quiet. But you know, sometimes in that process, when you're getting smacked in the face and poked and pushed and prodded, you begin to question what's going on. And you need to have an inner circle of people. I call them my inner circle, my sister girls who stick close to me, who contact me regularly, who we keep in touch with one another. We do pulse checks regularly. I can call them any time of the night. So if I have told you, you can call me anytime, I literally mean that. I don't mean if you call me at 3 a.m., I'm not going to pick up. Because if you are in your waiting, it's important that you understand you're not alone. And you may need someone there to help you hold up arms. And we need to surround ourselves with sisters like that who are going to help us in the waiting. So Kathy Ann, you wrote this during the pandemic. So see, COVID didn't stop anything, did it? So what was something you were thinking about? What were you thinking about when you began writing this book? Give us a little backstory.
Okay. So the story is, the truth is, I had no plans at all to write this book. In fact, I think like for most of us, the pandemic was like, what is happening here? You know, life as we had known it was about to change drastically. And as a professor, a mother, like most women, I'm sure, we were juggling so many things. I was trying to deal with my job. I was trying to take care of my kids. I was homeschooling one, another one was in cyber school. It felt as though I was being pulled in so many different directions. And at the same time, I had applied for a sabbatical the year before so I could finish a book for which I have a contracted publisher, and I didn't get it. And I was still, I gotta tell you, I was mad at God about that one. I really was. And don't be upset with me. I'm just being honest. And I was like, you know, when this summer comes, because it was in March when things really began to hit with COVID. When this summer comes, I'm going to finish that book, even though they didn't give me the sabbatical. And one morning, I got up early to write. I don't know what's your time to write, Jacqueline. One morning when I got up and I started writing, I just felt strongly impressed that a sermon that I had preached called Waiting, I was like, I felt this impression that I really needed to write that out. There was more to the story.
I listened to that sermon. That was around the time we met each other.
Yeah,
you sent me that. Yes, you did. It was beautiful.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Powerful message. Yes.
And so, because also when I preached it, honestly, it was really a message for me. Have you been there? It was a message for me, because in the process of preparing it, God was teaching me. And when I was finished, people came up to me and said, that word was for me. So I said, you know what? I am going to turn this into a short ebook and get it out before the summer. And I just couldn't stop writing.
Wow.
And in the process, I felt God teaching me that he was still God, and I needed to wait on him.
I'm really interested in knowing about that title. Why Waiting by the Brook? Because, you know, when I first heard the title, when you were talking about that, you know where my mind went to? The scripture.
Elijah. Yeah.
So why that title? Why that title? Because it nails, you know, the conversation and the dialogue that you have in the book. Clearly it does. I don't want to give away, you know, too much. But just talk to us a little bit about that title.
Well, yes. So there's a longer story which I want to just allude to. So prior to all of this, I've been a professor for a long time, but I would say over the last 5 years or so, I have felt the calling from God that he was calling me to do something else. Like this season was coming to an end. And I didn't know exactly where he was leading me, but I could sense that. I could hear him directing me. And so following that guidance, I had applied for this job. And I said, my husband and I talked about it. And we said, we really don't want this job. It's going to take us too far away. We don't want to live in the cold. But it was so strong. We said, God, if you keep opening doors, we're going to keep walking through. And it was a senior level administrative position, quite outside anything I'd done before. But again, I felt God's spirit leading. And so I made it to the short list, and I made it to the short list. And then I made it to number 2. And then I did the job talks and everything. And I was like, God, if you keep opening these doors, I'm going to keep walking through them. And then the door shut.
Wow.
Just as I was about to walk in, and it was like, well, God, the door shut. And I remember in the process of applying for that job, I was sitting there and I was thinking, God, I see myself. You give me the vision of myself in this job. And when I get there, it was a religious institution. I am going to preach a sermon, and I am going to entitle that sermon, Waiting by the Brook, because I want people to see how God is faithful. And what I did, Jacqueline, was I sent an email to myself. I sent it to myself so I could go back, and whenever that time comes, I could help somebody who was struggling through a waiting period, to show them that I had sent that years before.
Right.
And Jacqueline, at the end of it, no, I couldn't send it. I was still waiting.
Oh, wow.
I was still waiting. And so through all of that, when people, my friends, I think sometimes we ask people, how are you doing? But we really don't want to know.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
True. It's true. We don't want to know.
Right. So to my real friends, whenever they would ask me, how are you doing? Because in that space, I was so confused. I was like, what's up, God? Why did you put me through all of this? If somebody really asked me who cared, I would say, I'm just waiting by the brook. Because to me, when I think about Elijah had prayed for the drought, because the children of God had rebelled against him. So he had prayed for it. And then he does what God tells him to do. And then God says, okay, go sit by this brook and wait. And so for some reason, that really resonated with me, and it still has. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, because it did resonate with me, the title alone draws you in. I mean, Waiting by the Brook. As a woman, or as women in general, we can definitely relate to what waiting means. We're waiting to get pregnant and have that first baby. Or in reverse, we're waiting for that Boaz to come along and sweep us off our feet. We're in constant waiting for our kids to grow up, waiting for them to graduate, waiting for them to graduate college, waiting for them to get married, waiting for them to have grandchildren for you. It is a constant waiting for that next level opportunity for ourselves, waiting to transition out of one season to another. We as women can definitely relate to what it means to wait. And so that title alone just really grabs you and pulls you in. I want to ask you, though, what are some significant waiting periods in your life experience? Maybe it can be book related. It may not be book related.
Yeah. So I'm really upfront, and so one of my goals in this book, I feel as though sometimes when we get on our pulpit and we talk, we like to present the sanitized version of the way things should be, right? And so I'm really all about keeping it real, because in my spiritual walk, I have longed for these kinds of conversation where we would lose some of the facade and pretense, and really bear a struggle, sometimes a watery, I call it a watery kind of love for God sometimes, especially when we're going through a difficult experience. And so for me, I don't enjoy waiting. I'm the kind of person who I'm in the checkout line, looking all over, counting how many stuff in your shopping cart so I can get in and out. So, and yet for most of and like you said, Jacqueline, we spend so much time waiting. And I think the way we come to think about our waiting encounter with God is shaped by some of our early experiences with waiting.
Right.
And for me, it was the fact that my mother had abandoned me as a baby.
Wow.
And so my earliest memories of waiting was just waiting for this person to show up who was my mother, just waiting. And so I did meet her. I say when I was 7, but I really don't remember when. She came one day just to see how we were doing. There were no answers to the questions that continued to plague us and even me in my adult life. Why why did you abandon us? Why?
Right.
And so from those, I spent those early years just waiting. And even afterwards, waiting for something that would never come to pass. I would never have that experience of being with a mother. And so I think that has shaped a lot of my views and my thinking about waiting. And as I'm saying that, if for viewers who are listening, your experiences with waiting will cloud how you view your waiting experience with God.
Right. It's so true. It's so true. That story that you share so transparently is very powerful because as young women, when we were young ladies or girls, our parents, our fathers, our moms, they make a major impression upon us as we're growing up. Their decisions will carry on into adulthood, and sometimes they form and shape us. And so for you to be so transparent about that is extremely powerful. I am really thankful that you have shared that, and I know many are going to be blessed. You guys, you can go to valuewhatmatters.com and you can learn more about that story. I mean, it's powerful. You really want to go there and check it out. Also, those who may have popped back in, stay tuned to the end, because as we wrap up, we're going to be giving away a freebie. I want to ask you though, in general, if you had to give us, I don't know, some profound advice when it comes to waiting on God for an answer, what would you say to the listeners?
Okay, so that's the whole book there, Jacqueline. But I would say one of the most striking lessons that came to me as I was writing this book, because I don't take credit for this. You know, I feel as though we make ourselves available for use. And for me, every morning when I got up, I would pray, God, just let me be a pen, like a pen in your hand, you know. And I prayed for the person who would also read the book.
Right.
And so the most profound lesson that came to me as I was reading is this. And I had the privilege of I go walking almost every day on a trail. And I was talking to a gentleman. I've gotten to know so many people there. And he was telling me how he was going through this difficult season in life. And he didn't understand why. And I stopped and I looked him in the eye. And I'm saying this to you viewers too. It's a hard lesson, but it's a lesson that I have learned, that we often focus on what we're waiting for.
Oh, wow.
The outcome.
Yes.
Right? But we need to focus on who we are waiting with.
All right now.
And I don't think we think about God in that way, because we think about, I'm waiting on him to do for me what I want as he has promised in his word. Right? But the image that came to mind, because my husband read a lot of the work, was the image of Forrest Gump on this bench with this man. And he begins telling him a story that lasts a lifetime. Right? And so when I look back at the grand arc of my life and those times of waiting, there was God always there. And through the years, that relationship has deepened, because I have been waiting with him. He has been waiting with me. It's a very different thing if you're waiting with somebody.
Right.
You focus
Right.
on the time and
Yeah.
talking and getting to know each other. When you
The
have
relationship.
it's different, right? So that's the first thing. And the other thing that most profound thing that came to me is that the gifts are in the waiting.
Oh, wow.
And I want to say that again because it's a very hard truth to accept and to live. The gifts are in
the
the
waiting.
waiting. So it involves this paradigm shift where we have to learn to understand that. I saw you wrote this today. God is doing something in us in this season of waiting.
He is. He
He
definitely
is.
is. He is. He's moving. And sometimes for most of us, it's sort of like when it's winter time. A lot of people don't like winter. I don't like the cold, but I do like the fall. And I love the transition into winter because what it does is it seems like everything in my life kind of slows down just a little bit. And that's important to me. And I get to huddle up in my home. But what we fail to remember is, or to even consider is, during that time of what we call dormancy, everything is there. There is a lot going on beneath the surface. So
Yes,
during
yes,
the
yes.
waiting, there is a lot happening beneath the surface. And so growing antsy and wanting to produce on our own will only lead to something that we're going to have to be accountable to God for later.
Right.
And so I kind of think about Sarah and Abraham.
Yep.
You know, do I want to produce an Ishmael? You know, do I want to
Yes,
trust
yes,
God
yes,
for
yes.
everything? You see?
Yes,
And
yes,
so we
yes.
have to be willing to count the cost in that. Hello, viewers. I see you popping in. Thank you. We got to be willing to count the cost with that because it's going to have consequences.
Yes,
How
yes.
we wait is so important. And so you just sharing the title, Waiting by the Brook, and then your own testimony in that is so powerful. We've got to get to a point where we're not embarrassed about the waiting season. A lot of times I feel that as women, we are embarrassed or ashamed by the waiting period. And what I mean by that is we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves
Yes,
to
yes,
others.
yes. Yes,
And
yes.
when you're waiting, that is a dangerous thing to do. When you're waiting, that's not the time to try and measure your world against your sister girl's world. Very dangerous place to be. Because
Right.
remember, as you said, Kathy, and we are building relationship. It's not just about asking God for the end result and let's hurry up and get there. It is about what you are building through the process, and that is relationship. And that is when I think about this book, when I think about just the title, Waiting by the Brook, when you told me that, I mean, it just, everything within me just stood up because you were in a season of waiting, but you were willing to listen. And so when you think about that, waiting is not a passive thing. It is very
It's
much
not.
active.
It's
It is
not,
very
and
much
that's
active.
why I said there are 7 steps that we can go through to proactively benefit. It's
Right,
actually the most active period
right.
of the Christian
It is.
experience because I believe, and this is what I say in the book, that the sum total of our walk with God is to live in the space of waiting on and with Him. And it is through that process, the gifts that I talked about, we
Right.
have the opportunity to develop spiritual intimacy with God. Because I got to tell you,
Wow.
when you are waiting, those little mamby-pamby raising
Yes, yes,
the floor kind of prayer, they just don't
yes.
cut it.
Nope,
This
they
is
don't.
the kind of prayer where you are like Hannah in the temple. You're like Jacob at the Jabbok River at night.
Yes,
You snot is running down your nose,
yes.
tears are crying.
And you're
You
making ugly faces.
you don't have time to be cutesy, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so you have the opportunity to really develop a level of intimacy with God, which we approach in our not in our seasons of abundance, but usually in these times. The second thing is for God to do His work in us. Sometimes He needs to put us to go sit down,
Right,
sit
right,
down,
right, right,
and then He can do His transforming work in us.
right.
And I think the third gift, and this is to me the most powerful that comes to us, is that we are able to profit from the pain.
Right.
If you think about a lot of people who have just really gone on to do tremendous works, a lot of times our service comes from our crises, from our grievings. And I would
Right.
say, if you know the story of Maya Angelou, Nelson Mandela, you just go through the list, right?
Right.
What they went through and how it was those experiences that allowed them to bring a certain level of service
Right.
to what they were
Right.
doing
Exactly.
because they had been through something.
That's
So
right.
those are the gifts, and you're not going to get it if you don't go through it.
You're not. You have to. There's no way around that. It's sort of like saying, I want the water without the wet. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to have both. That is a great segue into just kind of talking about, you gave us some great points and lessons there, significant facts about the waiting period. But I want to go into what's coming up with you. What's next? What is this leading into?
So thank you. So as I thought about Elijah, and there are many also, there are many other instances we can think about. Before Jesus began his ministry, his public ministry, he went into the wilderness for 40 days. And so the waiting period, Joseph in prison, it's often God calls us away from distraction into this season of solitude, of retreat. And
Right.
so I think and that's when we really are able to look up.
Right.
And so as I have talked to you and I've talked with women all over, I know so many women who are waiting. They're in this season of waiting. And so I wanted to do some kind of retreat where I could help facilitate, first to talk through what it's like to go through this season of waiting, and how can we relate to God in this season of waiting in a way perhaps that we have not thought about before.
Right.
So I was thinking about a retreat, and you know that this is COVID and everything, and so I decided I was going to create a Waiting by the Brook spiritual retreat. Not for everybody. This is for people who are going through something, who really are facing some crisis, some waiting crisis that is testing them, their faith, and they really want to be able to draw away and go through some steps to really waiting on and with God in the company of others.
That's beautiful. That's really good. I am, when you talk about the spiritual retreat, and we are in a time of still really the pandemic, because we're flip-flopping with that. I mean, we went from, no, you can't go anywhere, everything's closed, to, okay, you can go some places during these times, to, okay, we're all good now, everyone is opening back up again, and then back to, okay, you need to put that mask back on.
Yes.
All of these things have led to a lot of crisis situations in homes. I want to read something from one of our viewers that says, waiting can bring us to a place of anonymity. Are we okay? I don't have my glasses on. Are we okay with that? Are we too busy? Listen carefully. Or are we too busy trying to be seen and heard? That's really good.
That's really good.
It is, because a lot of times we get caught up in the doing and we forget to just sit and be still.
Yeah.
And so we're busy beavers. And so I think that with this pandemic, with everything kind of crashing in on us and placing so many restrictions on people, it's caused us to take a look in the mirror, not only at ourselves, but now we're kind of weighing the odds with everyone around us. You know, relationships are changing. And so in this current age, why is this spiritual retreat? And I'm glad it's virtual, by the way. That doesn't give us, I am, because, you know, you can go to that retreat right from your bedroom or your closet, wherever you pray at. And so that makes it great. But in this current age, what makes this retreat so important?
Well, wow, Jacqueline, you said so much. My mind is trying to absorb what you read, and then, you know, what you just said about the busyness of our age. I think as Christians, and I had a webinar live yesterday, and we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about this. We are very, very familiar with what I call spiritual disciplines of engagement. And
Okay.
one author, Jan Johnson, talks about this. We go to church, we praise together, we study together, and so on. But we are not as familiar with disciplines of disengagement.
Oh.
We not only do we need to take in what is necessary to nourish us spiritually, we need to exhale what is getting in the way of really us hearing God's voice. And so it's a paradox, because it's like, okay, yeah, you've been home isolated. Do you really need a retreat? But
Right.
but
Right.
but living in the pandemic has created all kinds of anxieties. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
Henry Nouwen calls it the monkey brain. It's like you
Oh,
can't
wow.
even,
Yes.
all kinds of
Yes.
stuff going on at the same time. So the retreat is not, so, and I'm glad it's not about a place you go. It's about learning to quiet the mind.
Mm.
Quiet the mind so that you can deepen, broaden your questions, your relationship with God, that you can confront some deep questions that in the busyness of the monkey brain you
Right.
are just totally ignoring. And I would say it is challenging doing it virtually, because you know, we're home, we're mothers, the dishes have to be washed and so on. So one of the things that I've been very intentional about doing is, when I started thinking about it as a professor, you know, I know all kinds of stuff. I was like, well, I could do this,
Right.
I could do that. And God's servant said to me, hold up, hold up. This is not how we're going to do that, sister.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this, people do not need more information. They need an experience. And so this is going to be less about me and about helping people create a space so that they can quiet their minds.
Right.
And one of the
Right.
ways I thought about doing that is, so even when they sign up, I am giving them a questionnaire survey. What is your question? How are you going to prepare? What are you going to do on that day to make sure that you have space? Are you going to let your husband or your children know that you don't want to be bothered, right? So preparing
Mm-hmm.
for retreat. And
Mm-hmm.
then what we do on that day, not sit in front of the computer all day and stare at the screen. No, no, no. Activities, thought questions, and private time built in so you can spend time with God. And then after the retreat, how are we going to build in rhythms of rest and quiet
Right.
so we can really hear God's
Right,
voice? Yeah.
right, right. I get that. And I think you're right. A lot of people are wanting to, or maybe thinking, hey, I've been in a retreat all the past year. I have been
Yes.
retreating all the
Yes.
past year. And so, yeah, I definitely want to get out of here. But, but it is about quieting the mind more so. So it's really not about where you are. It's about
Exactly.
what you're going to commit to doing wherever you are. That's
Exactly.
really, really important, quieting the mind, because how we think and what we think and meditate on is going to shape and form us. And so it's so important that we do take that time to quiet the mind. I'm excited about and looking forward to just experiencing this virtual experience, a virtual retreat. It's sort of like having a retreat in a box. And
Yes.
so I can get all my goodies, my Bible, my notebook, and I can go to my favorite place in the corner of my house, and I can just sit and quiet my mind. And I know you got a lot in store for that. I don't want to give a lot of that away, but I do want to ask you this before we wrap up. I want to ask you, and I'm going to go back and read some of the comments here, if my mastermind would allow me to figure out how to do that. I want to ask you, though, what's next? What's next? How can we, find out more what's coming up and all of that good stuff?
Oh, wonderful. So as you mentioned before, my website is valuewhatmatters.com.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think Jacqueline is going to share the link to the retreat is under the events tab in my page, on my website, which gives all the details about the retreat. I know if you're like anything like me, I'm like, is this really for me? Is this going to be the same old, same old? No. So I walk you through So you can decide, because I've been praying that the women who need to be here will get an invitation from God and will accept it. Is this for me? What's going to happen on the first day? It starts on the 27th of October with a kickoff at 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this is called Preparing for Retreat.
Okay.
And I feel as though a lot of times we haven't done that when we go to retreat. Why am I doing this? What is the question or intent of me coming into this retreat? And then on the 30th is the full day of the retreat. And then on the Sunday, which is the 31st, we have like couple of hours to wrap up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we have 3 different plans to choose from. You have the option to get an autographed copy of the book as well, for us to have a chat, a 20-minute chat talking about, so I can add you and talk with you to my prayer list. So I am open to how God leads and where this will go. And I'm looking forward to meeting and connecting with my sisters in the virtual retreat.
I'm really excited about it too. Listen, ladies, I want to say this. Even if you are not interested and you don't need to quiet your mind, I want you to share it with someone. Just think of one person, one sister girl who you know would benefit from this. I mean, we probably could think of a whole list, but I'm just asking that you think of one person that you can share this link with. I've dropped the link again there, Value What Matters, and that link takes you directly to the page that is talking about the virtual retreat and giving you a little background. And so I want to encourage you to please, please, please share with someone, because there are so many people out here who at this point, and this crisis that we're in our nation, that need to have a place where they can quiet the mind. They need that encouragement. They need the support. You can always share the group with them. We're going to continue. W.I.N.E will be doing things like this going forward. And I want you to please share the group link, invite people to the group so that they can, you know, experience that same type of transformation that you may be able to do on your own. I mean, most of you that probably chime in today, you're taking the initiative for your own spiritual growth here. That's a great thing, but not everyone is on that level. And so we want to encourage our sister friends to take advantage of the tools that are here to equip and empower them to move forward in the direction that God has created for us. That's really important. And I firmly believe that it has a lot to do with quieting the mind so that we can hear him with clarity. It's too much clanking going on. Too much. And so we've got to get to a place where we're quieting the mind so that we can hear God's voice. I am so excited about this, Dr. Kathy Ann. Is there anything else that you wanted to share in closing before we go to the giveaway? What is there?
Actually, I think it's been a pleasure to be here, and yeah, I'm just grateful that you shared your space with me. And to what Jacqueline said, please, if it's not for you, share it with someone who might need it. I'm also encouraging people, if you feel impressed, to sponsor a sister, because not everybody can afford you know, so you can do that. You can direct message me, and we'll work something else. So yeah,
that's right. And guys, if you have trouble reaching Dr. Kathy Ann, just inbox me and let me know what it is that you need, what I can do to help you. Thank you, guys. I see a lot of people are kind of chiming in. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, guys. Phyllis, my cousin in North Carolina, chimed in. Quiet the mind. I'm just so blessed. And I know she knows a lot about that. My cousin Phyllis has been through a lot as a woman of God. And so this may be something that will enrich her life and cause her to be able to transition to that next that God has for her. I'm so grateful that you ladies have chimed in. I had a cousin in here, Brenda from Richmond, Virginia. I'm just calling out a few places from all over. Darlene, she is from Nebraska. I mean, look at what the Lord is doing. So take what you have gleaned here and go and share it with someone else and make God excited. Make him proud that you are exercising the gift of the gospel to share his good news. And so, guys, I want to jump right in, and I don't know how we want to do this because we have 2 viewers here. What I need you to do is I need you, yes, hold it up again, Kathy, and we're going to do our giveaway. and it is a copy, an autographed copy of Waiting by the Brook. And I want you to type in the chat a number between 1 and 10. I have a number in my mind. I want you to type that number in the chat, a number from 1 to 10. Whoever gets the closest will get the gift. And so while you're doing that, I'm just going to continue to just talk a little bit about, as we wrap up, just to give you a few. Thank you, Darlene. I see. Oh, thank you, Alyssa. I see. All right. Oh, thank you, Phyllis. I see you. Okay. Okay. So, Phyllis, you are the winner. The number is 3. You're closest to the number 3. Everyone else is a little further away. I think we have what? Alyssa is 7. Darlene was, did I see 8 somewhere?
Yes.
8, yes. So the one that's closest is, it's Phyllis. Congratulations, Phyllis Silver. Yay. So what you want to do is make sure that you either contact Dr. Kathy Ann directly, or you can just remind me of what your address is, because I don't remember. Who remembers anything nowadays? You pop it in your phone when you need it, and you get there, and that's it. So then that way we can make sure you get that autographed copy. Congratulations, guys. I'm so excited. Ladies, please remember that this time of quiet time, this retreat that we are talking about, is really going to transform lives. I really firmly believe this. Or I would not have had Dr. Kathy Ann here today. She is a woman of God. She is a woman of integrity. And you know, you don't have to meet a person in person to discern that.
Praise
and so
God.
I'm so grateful for her heart. She's a giver, and she is such a great accountability partner for me, because we are keeping one another accountable as we take this journey together. So ladies, again, the link is in the chat there. I will post it again probably before the retreat. Kathy Ann, could you please tell us one more time the dates for the retreat?
Thank you. Yes, so it's October 27th is the kickoff, but the real retreat day when we're going to be doing it is the 30th, and then we have closing on the 31st.
All right, and that's of this month, October, ladies.
Yes,
so
yes,
you don't want to delay. You don't want to
Oh,
delay.
can
And
I just say, I just forgot, Jacqueline, that we have an early bird rate. It's supposed to end today. Now, but if you direct us and you say, can you just hold it off a little bit longer? I'll do that. I'll do that. So, but it ends. So
thank you. That's so sweet. So guys, don't miss the early bird. If you want to get in on this, you want to go ahead and contact Dr. Kathy Ann if you think you need a little extra time. Be sensitive to the fact that the kickoff is coming up very soon, guys.
Yes.
That's just, what, 2 weeks away? And I want to encourage you, ladies, also, if you are interested in getting your story out, if you want to get some guidance and want someone to come alongside you and help you with that, you can contact me at info@stayonthevine.com. That's where you would email me at, or you can inbox me here on Facebook. I have a package deal that's going to be posting soon, I hope within 24 hours, on my website, stayonthevine.com, that will you can purchase it by video. You don't even have to meet with me again like this. You can just go right in there, grab the goods, and get out of there. And what it's going to do, it's a course that I launched a couple of months back. It's walking you through the process of creating your own writing. Very simple steps. I've had numerous women attend that, and the ones who have attended, they have a book outline. One of them is already working with an illustrator. They did this, ladies. They got their outline and the course instructions that was given to them. They put it to work, and they had their book outline inside of 3 days. See, it doesn't take long if you really are serious about doing something. It doesn't take long. And so they already have a draft that they're ready to move forward in. And one of them is planning to launch hers in February. I mean, that blew my mind. And she's not even a writer, guys. But she came and attended, and God did something in her heart with the message that she had for women. And so it blessed me. So if you're interested, go to stayonthevine.com. Within the next 24 hours, that will be up. Or you can just inbox me and we can chat about it. I'm excited about what God is doing. Remember that W.I.N.E is equipping and empowering you to move and grow in the direction of the promise. Be blessed. Please continue to share this with someone. We want to hear the testimonies about what you've learned from waiting. Dr. Kathy Ann, thank you so much.
Good to see you, sis. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, y'all.